Hey, this is Drew Webster, professional dog trainer, and I'm just sitting here. I want to break down a couple of how-to things for your building a first aid kit. You can go down the list and look for all those essential items to have in a first aid kit, but honestly there's a lot of companies making them now. So this is just one version. I'm not promoting this brand. There's 4 or 5 out there you can find really easily on Amazon. What I like about this one, it's got a little checklist on the back. So you can write down your vet's phone numbers and then these kind of how-to inform. So wound care, sprain, strain, medical instructions, and medication. Those are right on the bag, so that's really cool. If you need a little help, if it's not your comfort area of expertise, quite frankly, you should ask your veterinarian or a veterinary technician. What kinds of things would be really good to have in there? For me, I hike and do a lot of outdoors things. So the most typical things I have to think about are hydration, toenails and pad injuries, so injuries to the feet, and just some basic wound care type of things that, you know, little cuts and scrapes that happen running through the woods. So I'm just going to break this down for you real quick, and I'll show you a couple things I would add to it. So this one is Adventure Dog series, and it all comes in this nice, neatly little waterproof kit, which is great. I think things that are essential mostly are gauze, wraps, things like that. So in here we've got our gauze. These are our adhesive bandages, and here's some vet wrap, which you can also buy, and you can ask your veterinarian. They have tons of this stuff. It's kind of self-adhesive, sticky, but not sticky like we might think of tape. It just sticks to itself. Hydrogen peroxide, nice, neatly packaged for you to use for those little cuts and scrapes. Syringes, really useful, really good for wound care too, for getting things out. Some more gauze. I'm just going to pull everything out because this guy's really noisy. It's a little plastic. What I like about this one, it comes with little tweezers, and they're metal. Plastic sometimes can break and not be very strong. So it's got little tweezers, really good for pulling those ticks and things like that. Learn how to pull a tick if you live in Colorado or any state where ticks are prevalent. Grab them and turn counterclockwise. You want them to release. You want the head, all the legs, everything to come out. If you're not sure how, there's tons of great tutorials on the internet. YouTube it is. So lots of little essentials, alcohol pads, some kind of polysporin type materials in there. I love this one. It's got a little how-to first aid emergency handbook and reference guide that comes with it. So I think this one's pretty essential. Things I would add, and this is my sterile, is Bivy Bowl. I think hydration is one of the big things we see, shock and dehydration. So these little collapsible bowls are worth their weight in packing them. Plus a lot of them have little carabiners. You can just clip them right on your water bottle, on your backpack. I always bring slip leashes. What's great about these is they can really help. Some dogs, when they get injured, they try to lash out and bite. These make really good instantaneous muzzles over the nose, and then wrap it up around the dog's nose again, back behind the ears, and then you can hold it where you started your wrap. So essentially like that, you've got a little instantaneous muzzle if you've got to deal with something painful or move a dog with an injury. This really helps avoid bites. Towels, things like that in your car are great to have too. Good for drying things out, also for supporting picking up a dog, and if you need an emergency wrap, that can also help with temperature cool down in fanning, or getting them wet and laying them on the dog if you needed to, for a heat stroke kind of thing. So I think adding things like this to a prepackaged kit are a really good idea. If your dog has an uncomfortable time at the vet or with strangers, handling emergency situations can be really scary. So this is good in a pinch. Gauze can also make a really good makeshift muzzle if you have to wrap it to support your dog. But way better than that, teach your dog a positive muzzle up approach, and just keep this in your car or with your gear. If you know that's a stressful thing for your dog, teach your dog to love a muzzle. Anybody can take a can of Easy Cheese or Kong Easy Treat, put it in here through the basket, and teach your dog to stick his face in there and eat the cheese. Muzzles only build associations if we use them for scary stuff, like I'm going to put this on you and clip your toenails, and then dogs have issues with them. So if you know your dog has touch sensitivity, has issues with strangers handling, doesn't like going to the vet, teach them a really positive muzzle up approach. I'll put a link to those on there too. I also think these are really valuable. Just cheap little booties. Get your dog used to these if you live in places where the temperature gets hot or cold. And then I just keep one of these in my bag at all the time. So it comes with a set of 4. One of these is always with them. And then I use the other 3 if we're dealing with, people salting the sidewalks. That burns the dog's feet when it's snowy around here. But also, this is really good for wound treatment. If I wrap my dog up and then he's going to mess with it, this can keep it safe. This is rubber, so it's waterproof. Keep the dog from licking it and getting infected, at least till I can get to care. The number one thing to think about with first aid is it's temporary. The biggest thing you got to do is get to a vet, get to somebody who knows what they're doing, and make sure it's okay. Don't just say, oh, well, I cleaned my dog's wound, I'm probably okay. Make sure we keep an eye on it. We don't want any swelling or long-term infections or damage from first aid. The biggest thing is knowing the difference between a small incident and an emergency situation, which we'll cover a little more in this course, but knowing what's normal for your dog. So it's really good to learn resting heart rate, resting temperature, all those things. Figure out your dog's baseline, so that in an emergency situation, you know if your dog's behaving differently or if something's different physiologically with your dog. All right? Be safe, be smart. Luckily, I've never had to use any of the stuff in this kit. Everything out there's been pretty minor. These are kind of my go-tos for my dog. He's kind of clumsy with his feet. He gets a lot of injuries, broken toenails. Some of that stuff can be prevented with upkeep and trimming, but that stuff happens. Cut pads happen. So be prepared. Get out there, and then you'll know you're going to be safe if you're out in the woods. And have a list of those numbers, which you can put right on your bag. Veterinarians, emergency lines, help centers, poison control if you think your dog's ingested something. All right? Keep it safe, keep it fun.